yesterday we went live with this subdomain. Let me make sure that my audio is being captured proper. It is. We went live with this subdomain, idk.potatocore.com. If we just go to normal Potato Core, we see we've got this. So what this was is I made this automation runbook that would scan through 3 websites across 52 different characters, and they would all analyze those websites, taking screenshots, sending those to an LLM, describing them, and then using their own voice within the business to critique it. Now, one thing that I pointed out when we were doing this was how our org chart is actually not accurate right now. It's true that CEOs, the Russ is the CEO, little potato man, who his catchphrase is like his thoughtfulness, his mind, when he opens up his mind, it is meant to be filled by the voices of all of these other characters. So headcanon says there's 52, and I think maybe I don't know if I gave all 52 the opportunity, but we can just look through it. As an aside, something we also decided, I don't know if it was in last video or just in my head, but this is the format that we actually want to have these magazines in. I really like this format for a website, and then when it's on mobile, it's just like a single page. But we have our 2 published books, and then the OD tree, which is more of a it's more of like the spine or the backbone of the canon. And we talked about what canon is. We've spoken in the past about the difference between conventional and unconventional. I was previously using canonical and unconventional to mean like opposites. And although there's a relationship between canonical and conventional, one thing that I want to just reiterate, because I think this is a valuable distinction, is with unconventional, we'll start with conventional. With conventional, it follows a convention. The convention being, let's just get an official definition while I talk about this. We're going to say definition. So it could be like this big group, but really it's a large or widely accepted custom. That's really what it comes down to. It's a custom. Everyone does it this way, whether it's like modifying this. Some of these are going to sound pretty contrived. Let's think. A convention would be like everyone waters their potato plant, The reality is sometimes the rain does it, the person doesn't do it. But it's unconventional to try and grow your potatoes without water. So unconventional that it wouldn't work. But maybe it's a little unconventional to come up with like an irrigation system where you can grow your potatoes like without sunlight, but you're passing UV in. It's not necessarily as widely accepted, but it does depend on your scope. So how this applies to AI engineering is a conventional way of like, this is much more my wheelhouse. A conventional way to like categorize things would be to come up with a model in a model being a means by which we can, all right, perfect. We're diving right in. So the whole website, right? idk.potatocore. We're going through words, trying to make sure that we know these words in SSH server, discovery server. When I logged in today, I realized we don't have day 6, which was yesterday, and we did make a video for yesterday. So let's just make sure that we can cd idk npm run dev. So this is saying use this tool npm, which is within our binary. We're gonna dive into all of this within our Claude session. So we're gonna go cd. I don't know what I'm doing. We can start our Claude session. And remember, we could do this to resume our Claude session, or we can even just tap Claude and then type resume. I think it would be valuable for us to go through these skills or all of these different commands within Claude as well. But for now, we're just going to use what I would say is I would say the conventional way is the easy way, where you're just talking to it like a chatbot. It's so much more powerful than that, Claude Code or these other like CLI tools. I don't know if it is an agentic system, but I feel like it's constantly evolving, and it's really hard to box these things in. But okay, so let's say when I run npm run dev, what is the conventional way that we would describe what the npm portion of that is doing? Now, of course, and everyone watching this would know this, probably not. npm stands for Node Package Manager, obviously. well, I hate using the expression obviously because I almost feel like nothing is obvious. So we're going to say Node Package Manager is what it stands for, but I'm talking about I'm talking about like in the context of typing that into a terminal. I terminal. It would figure that out, but I'm going to just correct it. Uh, Typing into the context of a terminal. From my understanding, that code is somewhere in our path. Our path being all of the programs that our kernel or our terminal runtime has access to. And because it has access to all those things, well, like, how does it have access? The path is pointing to where the code that executes all that stuff is. How does it know to execute it? The path is very important. So you could, I don't know, is it safe? I think it's safe to show you guys what a path is. So let's just do echo path. This is basically saying these are all of the things that exist within, like, within my path. How does that help you understand what a path is? We're going to have to say, what is a path? What is a path? What is a binary? Why bin? Because you see there's bin everywhere. Then there's also these user. See, it looks like we have the go binary, so I should be able to type go, and it's going to be like, go what? You didn't give me a command. Usually with these tools, if you just type them, it'll say how to use them. So I could do npm. It'll be like, maybe we're in the runtime now? No, okay. It did just find it and is like, well, npm, now run a command. There are these things called CLI tools. This is our command line interface. That could be like terminal. That could be command prompt. That could be PowerShell. I'm sure there's others. Tmux, iTerm2. You got options. What are we doing? Because I don't know. So what's so exciting, if you're new here, is with this strategy, if we do cat claude.md, we'll see that when I ask a question, we're effectively putting this into our Claude codes path. That's not true objectively, but it would be good to think of. And I mean, because when we talk about the path, we're talking about our system's ability to execute code, our system's ability to execute code that's already been downloaded or stored in here. Let's say I downloaded npm, but it's not in my path. I thus can't use Node Package Manager to run scripts. I know, because I've done this before, that npm will allow me to execute a command for, it will allow me to execute a command when I type npm run for the Node Package Manager. So what command do I want to run? Funny enough, it's run. Now, how do I know that I want to run dev? Well, this I think is just very useful. When you're building these projects, if you're using Claude Code entirely and you're just vibe coding, it might not be clear to you what Claude Code is running under the hood. Sometimes Claude Code will spin up a process and it's not visible to you. Or maybe there is a way to get in there to see what it's doing. But sometimes it'll say like, oh, there's a shell. I don't really like that strategy. I prefer to have a terminal running the process, printing logs out that I can immediately audit. So if we cat package.json, we'll see npm run basically, and we might get corrected here by Claude, but you could think of it, if in your package.json, and your package.json is how you define a project that's written in JavaScript or TypeScript, maybe other things too. This is how I use it though. And this, I think, is the canonical. Everyone would say to use it this way. And conventional. Everyone's using it this way. There's also probably unconventional ways to like set stuff like this up. We're not going to go into that. So I do npm run dev. That maps to npm run db build and vite. So vite, as we learned earlier, is both our hot reload server and some configurations for our server, which it's going to run on localhost 4747. So if I do npm run db, so it's funny, it's npm run db build and vite is basically saying this part right here is saying run this command and run this command. So if I do npm run build, db run build, this is going to build my project. Now if I just run vite, I don't have vite installed. What's going on there? So maybe if I do npm vite, what's going on? So, okay, let's find out. So maybe within this runtime, it's interpreting Vite. I'm confused now. Why, when I run npm run dev in package.json, it says it would run npm run db build and Vite, but when I just run Vite, nothing happens. Yet when I run npm run db build, it does node scripts build db.mjs. So it's doing a lot behind the scenes while I ask that question. It's like because of what we did here is a teaching artifact, a personal learning engine. It's building. It should be running by now. Localhost 4747. It's not running. That's okay. So let's run it. That's what we're going to do here. I know if I run, just because this has been working, but we want to develop a deeper understanding of these things. So we refresh. I remember I added this debug panel recently. Excellent. I love this. It's got all the juicy data. Is this exposing anything about me? Let's hope not. Loop back, yes. So localhost, jails binaries, page state, raw entries, symlink. It's got everything in here. Awesome. All right. So I think they're supposed. Oh, yeah, there is chat. So we did create a chat. If you put your own open API key into this app at localhost 47, check it out. That was a joke. If you paid attention last video, you know that this is a loopback interface. This is saying, hey, this is being served locally. It's not on the open internet. But if I give this an open API key, I will be able to start chatting with these pages because that's what we told Claude Code that we wanted it to do. So we did our automation runbooks yesterday. What's an automation runbook? This is something that you can run. It's an operation systems manual. It existed before Claude. It existed before these things, but now we have these things. What is a class? We're doing this unconventionally. I think a lot of coding boot camps will take you through like the fundamentals where you're going over variables, methods, functions. You'll go over classes usually, which is a blueprint for a kind of thing. So classes are different in a lot of languages, but there's a general definition that's helpful to understand. It's a way to create an instance of an object. What is an instance? Every time you wake up, you experience an instance of a day. How do you know? Because you know that a day is between 0 and 24 hours, and that by existing within the calendars we use, that will encompass a day. So if I wake up, instance of a day, begin to experience. Go to sleep, wake up, an instance of a new day. They're distinct, but they're both of that category, more particularly of that class. All right. So while that filibuster kicked off, what is the anatomy of a website? What is ontology? I think that it's important to develop an ontology when you're creating these things. That's why this is my excuse for why I'm not making a ton of money off this potato stuff right now, because I don't have a set ontology. I don't have like a way of talking about it where an audience is going to understand what I'm talking about. They're like, I'm over here with potato stuff. I'm over there with AI stuff. I'm over here with full stack development stuff. Localhost, we were just talking about it, is the name your computer uses for itself. So when a program asks for localhosts, the network will resolve it to this, which is looping back at where you are, or like on the internet where you are. So when you make a run server and visit this, when you run a dev server and visit this, your browser is talking to a program running on the same laptop. That's based on this. This is not to say that anytime you run a dev server, that 4747 is going to be serving it. But if you configure that port, then yes, you're going to have your domain resolved to 127.01. So let's verify. Let's see if that's true. What? Maybe. Okay. That's another question we should ask. 4747. We also asked let's just ask it. No, we don't. I just localhost 4747. It might be because HTTP. Was it because I didn't use I think it was because I didn't use HTTP, or is it not one? Is it 0? Why am I putting 1 there? What am I doing wrong? That's not today. When I run, okay, it was this one, localhost. So 1, 2, yeah. Is it 2? Am I putting 3 zeros? Is serving my app right now? How come? I'll do 7.0.0.1. It's likely your dev server's localhost only on your machine is resolving to not IPv4. Localhost resolves to 1. That is IPv4. Loop back. If it only listens on that, then that will fail. What's it? See what it's listening on. So, oh, okay. To make both work, I'd have to host it at that. So is it saying that if I do? Yeah, no, I don't even think that made any sense. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Ooh, also test IPv. Is it because of the HTTP thing? It could be. So curl is just a way to see the URL. That's how I would say it, but that's not what it stands for. Oh my gosh, that worked. Pretty cool. HTTP. That one should. I would have thought it would have worked. Doesn't work. So maybe that means. Is that because? Is it? Is this because of how I am hosting it? The worked. Do 7 did not. Could it be a Vite thing? NPM thing? Okay. Host. To make both work, bind the server to all interfaces. All right, we're going to have to learn more about this stuff because, like, that's the thing with software engineering. You could be making a decent chunk of money in this field and not necessarily know how the entire stack that you're even using works. At least that's how I did it. So also test IPv6 directly. Is this because of how I'm hosting it? Okay, is it a Vite thing? Yes, it is almost certainly how it is binding. Yes. Let's talk about let's fill up our what is it? Fill up our we're gonna have stuff to do. What is binding in the context of what are we talking about? Network interfaces, like works, but 127.0.0.1 is not serving anything. Is it because my system is more modern and using IPv6 or IP6? At this point, we should also say what is IPv4 and what is IPv6? What is the difference? For that matter, what is ENO? That's something I think showing like my network tab would be a little weird. But if you run this command, ifconfig or ipconfig, it'll show you some information about your system, and we're gonna just ask it, what is ifconfig? What is ipconfig? So while all that's building, one of the things that we were talking about earlier that I just want to like loop back to. Let's do this callback real quick. We have these reports. Did it do a new update? No, it looks like it's still using the old one. So I did have it. If we go to Potato Core, cd potatoes, cd Potato Core web, ls cd Potato Core npm run dev. It's gonna already in use. So we see that this one, the potatoes annual. But then if we do localhost 311, no signal. That's because I was in the process of creating one of these earlier. But it did create the one for June, monthly for May. I didn't have those. The Sunday nothing shipped, a weekly brief. It's showing 0 commits on so much stuff. 0 panic. We checked the commit log. It was empty. What people did instead of shipping. Tater editor-in-chief was at his desk. He always is. He said, quote, either way, I will be ready. Like, these are all like just my little fake characters that are one day going to just run this business. A weekly cadence is only as durable as its first test. The first test. Okay, Russ went back to bed. The thing is, I've been jumping around to different projects. Potato Core, it's the website's not as supposed to be as much of like the focus as just me making videos showing how to build things like this. But like the thing is, the desire that I had was I had a magazine on 4 verticals: potatoes, potato core, hot potato games, and potato literature. I had all of that get scanned, 13 pages for each vertical. That's 52 pages, and that went in our yearly one. Then our monthly one, our yearly one, our monthly. These are less pages, like 8 pages, 8 pages, 8 pages, 4 pages. Excellent. So what we want to do now is just make sure, like, we're about to tell it what to do. I'm about to say, Potato Claude. Can we resume? What? I think it's because the session was in here. Let's do resume. Investigate apps loaded. It was loading slowly because it was spawning off a ridiculous amount of agents. Review and consolidate potatoes reporting projects. Is this the context where we were in the process of building our new annual magazine? It is still empty right now and shouldn't be. It should have screenshots of our 4 verticals with reviews, adversarial, ranging in adversarialness, 13 pages each from all of our potatoes characters. All right, so while that's kicking off, we have something else going on over there. The goal is to turn all of these into, like, I kind of like it's very HTML. It feels very clean. What the chair did? Bubba. Sorry, he's snoring. I had to wake him up. I love him. Don't you dare tell me that that's abuse. It's okay, Bubba. I love you. Most of the customer-facing services shipped little or nothing in June. None of them lost customers. None of them broke. The systems are carrying themselves. We've got these systems. Yeah, maybe what I should... this is kind of like a smack in the face. Because I don't have to justify to you what I'm actually been working on. On June 7th, the company shipped 0 commits. Yeah, all right, give me a break. The only business event this month. Yeah, so I think that one thing that's kind of... Yeah, here it is. Okay. The Intel briefing cadence had originally been declared on May 22nd. 7 days, 7 verticals, 1. Because I'm adding verticals, but the goal is to have, like, within the next 3 years, the 4 ones that we discussed earlier, verticals or projects, are all supposed to be, like, self-sufficient, self-sustaining, like, as autonomous as possible. But I definitely want to start bringing people into the fold of what it is I'm trying to build. Because I have the option of just being like, all right, let's ship slop, right? Let's put stuff on Etsy, Redbubble, t-shirt designs. But, like, I want to build a brand that I really... I'm starting to sound pretentious. I should start to, like, try and, like, focus on conversions, but I want to get the system right. I want to be able to see... I need feedback loops where people can write forms or reviews, and I can internalize those and make changes. 2 storefronts closed their loops. So I think this is May or June. It's beginning of June. That's why it's not busy. What about May? A monthly brief, magazine that wouldn't render, 3 projects on a Sunday. I love how it is capable of analyzing my gets. Oh, like yesterday, the thing that I worked on was I'm calling it Determined Task Discovery Engine. The thing is, there's all these verticals. I just wanted to be scanning through the commits, and, like, in some ways, it's an evolution of this, because this is showing me, like, what I did. The 3 cloud play. Yeah, I wanted to run GCPs serving our personas, Azure running adversarial reviews, AWS running an orchestrator, free tiers everywhere. Are you really token maxing if you're not using every cloud provider available and just getting yourself so caught up and wired that there's no chance you'll ever get out of this alive? That's what I'm doing. So the storefront tells a story on May 10th. Gained a comic. Yeah. So, yeah, this one I think is kind of silly, but we're just going to show one of these comics. Potatoes. Create, automate, publish. There's Curly and what's supposed to be Russ, but that doesn't really look like him. All right, so the Potatoes had an idea for a garbage making machine. They're like, all right, if we put energy into this garbage making machine, we will create garbage. And then Russ was like, and it's not really Russ because he needs a bite mark in his head, but this was AI generated. Slop. Can we automate it? So, of course, Waffle Fry said, let's Google how to automate garbage creation. Then they found this website, Premium Garbage Supply. Refer a friend, save 15% on your annual prescription for garbage. You know, basically, anytime anyone's trying to sell you like their AI image generator garbage, which is, it's getting better, but so many people are just trying to capitalize instead of like reflect. Just sit there and reflect for a sec. Sit under a tree, look inward. More ideas, big ideas is more potato, more fun. Potato headquarters news, the Spuds. What can I do you for? Why is he so worried? He's not worried. He's excited. So their goal is then to buy trash, send it to the machine, make more trash, question mark, profit. But then Pierogi, being the voice of reason she always is, who's going to want to buy trash? They were confused. Can we sell it to a collector? So the comic ends with them walking into a garbage collector in the hopes of striking a deal for selling that garbage collector some garbage. So yeah, while that loaded, that like I have that is probably going away. I'm probably not making more comics like that, but that gave us time while all of this stuff started executing. Let me lay it out. Short answer: no, this is not that context. The conversation we with asking why the app was loading slowly. It was not that one. So Claude, resume. Did we work on creating a magazine in this context? I am looking for that one. Because it might even just be in this one. See, I'm all over the place. Maybe you shouldn't be learning from someone like me. Backfill annual. It's probably this one. That's a big context. Resume from summary. We have to resume full as is. It's not this one. We'll close that. This never completed. On 47, our annual review that was supposed to be updated is now empty. That's bad. It should have 52 pages of reflections from our personas on potatoes, potato core, hot potato games, and potato literature. Beautiful. All right. So now let's just reflect on today. We asked some questions. Let's see if it updated it. When I run npm run dev, what is the npm portion actually doing? What is a path? What is a binary? Why bin? When you type npm run dev, the word npm is not a magic command. It is the name of an actual file in a folder on your machine. The shell finds that file and runs it. That is the whole trick. Everything else is mechanics. That should mean that we can run this command. And I think that's not why we know this. From that, you would not know this, but there's this command in Linux, Unix, terminal, I don't even know. You can run which, so I can do which npm. So I can now see that npm is there, run homebrew bin npm. I'm printing out that file, and it's saying require lib CLI.js. So let's see. It looked like it backed out. So is there lib in here? Oh, there's a lot of possibilities. It's saying lib CLI.js. The answer is no. Lib CLI. We're in lib. What is it? npm cat which lib CLI.js. So what's it talking about? Where did I go wrong here? If npm is just a No, an environment. What is it? It's a node environment that requires libcli.js. Why? Why did cat libcli.js fail? All right, the shell, the thing. When your terminal is open, you are not talking to your computer directly. You're talking to a program called a shell. On macOS, it's called Zish. The shell takes you to the text. The shell takes the text you type, splits it into white space, treats the first word as a command, the rest as arguments. So npm run dev, these are arguments, becomes npm args run in dev. The shell then has to find npm. It does not know in advance where npm lives. It searches path, the search list. It's an environment variable. An environment variable is just a key value pair attached to your session. An environment, yeah. So run echo path and you'll see those. When you see npm, the shell walks that list left to right. It looks in opt homebrew. Try if it's not there. Try user local bin, then bin the first. All right, binary, the file being run. You can see which one. Oh, it even recommends the thing that I did. Binary is next. Why bin? Unix convention from the 1970s. The folder where executables live was named bin, short for binaries. The convention spread and split. Now, how do we know any of this is accurate? This is all just AI generated. Any of this we can Google. And Google is never wrong. Psych, I lied. Unix convention from why bin for binaries. I wonder if it gives us the same answer. Precompiled readable. I think this is a better answer, to be honest. Good job, Google. It's quoting Rust. Sus. Just kidding. Software developers separate their projects into. Okay, yeah, Unix file system. Disk storage was extremely limited and expensive to make operating systems bootable, even when they had a primary disk. Even when only the primary disk was mounted, core executable commands were stored in a dedicated root directory named bin. The convention stuck. Cool. All right, binaries. Zeros and ones. That's what binary is. The thing is to internalize. All right, why does npm run dev work, but typing vite does not work when npm run build works? It ends up running node scripts build. The ace is notice the whole point of how npm. When you run npm, the script is node build dbms. Node is a globally installed binary that lives somewhere. Which so if I did node vite, what? Cannot find. I don't know what I'm doing. Is it because that build database is installing it? Is a globally installed binary? Run which node, and you'll probably see the shell finds the same way. When you type npm run dev, the script is. All right, so I guess Vite is a locally installed dependency. It's not on my path. So why does Vite work inside the dev? Because npm does one thing specific before executing the script. It prepends node modules bin. Oh, so does that mean that ls node modules dot bin? There she is. All right, so can we cat that? We can. All right, look at that. What's going on there? It's not that big. Okay, so it's hooks, metadata. If it has no modules, import the source map support, global Vite start time. We're starting now. Filters. Don't know what these are. Just this looks like regex, regular expressions. What is a regular expression? See, this I think what I'm doing here is a way to use these technologies that's actually like it can be helpful, but also does everyone need to do this, or do you just need a few people at the helm speaking a few specific languages for other people, so that because if I run these things with my claude.md file, you run these things with your claude.md file, your agents.md file, we're trying to learn. What's the point of you doing the exact same thing as I'm doing? Well, of course, if you have different questions, that's better. But if you're just trying to generally boost your knowledge in this, follow for more. We still got half an hour though, so. All right. Constant profiles index, filter. Okay. So process debug. I think this is probably something to do with arguments. Yeah, profile index, process args, index of profile. Oh, so it's checking to see if I'm running like a dev, maybe a dev profile or debug profile, or another one, function start. This is probably where it actually starts. All right. Set module ESLint if not already supported. If profile, like try this ESLint disable feature, no supported features. So these look like some flags. We flush the compile cache. What is a compile cache? My guess, what is it to flush a compile cache? We're going to end up doing this with some open source software, so we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of these things. And you know what? Let's reel it back even further. What is process.argv. In the context of Node? Because I think this isn't this declared as being in a Node runtime, or is that the other thing we looked at? No, Node runtime. Set timeout. Process arc split inspector wait inspector. So Node inspector light profile session profiler enable session post profiler start else we just start. So this looks like it's saying if the profile index is not the default or not 0, it's greater than 0. Yeah, so I think this is just like, I guess, what Vite is under the hood. Is there more in there? We could look up what these things are. What is baseline browser mapping? And I'm curious what all these things are. What is Nanoid? What is update browsers list DB? All right, April is being as an emergency unblock. April annual republic. That's a bummer. Now authoring the 52 pages. This will be a single large brief. All right. Ooh, this is what we want to make sure that we're defining things, but we also want to make sure that we're pushing the ball forward. And I mean, technically, the way that I'm structuring these things. Oh my gosh, why do I do this? We are structuring these things in such a way where every moon there's a new objective. Every season there's a new project. Every year we're actually going to stay with the same 3 projects for 3 years. If I can't make something special happen in those 3 years, on to the next. But I really want to maybe after on the 3rd year I give a whole year to just one project. And then but the way the buckets work is it goes potatoes is the big bucket, but potatoes is also just the e-commerce side of things. So we still want to make sure that we're learning about advertising, marketing, communication, branding, compliance. I think even security. Like we want to make sure that our terms are covered, our privacy, terms of use. What is it? So now it says that it's authoring the 52-page annual. The thing that we actually wanted to do, though, was merge the format, which is this format, with these style pages onto these, this viewer. I like this viewer. I have this goal of making, I think, just a ton of publications, magazines. There's going to be some that are comics, some that feel like kids' stories. I want this whole potatoes ecosystem to just be flourishing and teach people about the supply chain, about what the truckers do, about the opportunities you have, about what you can do with this time you have in your life. Ideally, other than doom scrolling. I'm a victim of it. I say victim. I am a recovering addict of doom scrolling. It's just so easy. But in the meantime, let's make sure nothing's running. Is anything running? So this is still trying to do things. This is the main one. Right. So let's actually stay on track, right? We might want to change this. It's also Salesman School for the Master Who Never Typed a Tag. We have to change that name. This is not Salesman School. This is I don't know what I'm doing. Help. We need to change that. Also, one thing that I noticed is on my potato literature site, we don't have a logo, favicon. So let's just spawn off something to do that. CD potatoes. potato literature. We don't have a favicon. All right. What is a favicon? Or whatever that icon is that is in the tab. This must be fixed. Quite frankly, I don't care too much what it is. It could even just be a potato emoji. Convention. But we want to go back here so that, nope, not this one, this one. We talked about what is localhost, what is a port. No, that's not today. That's the runbooks. Okay, we went over that. What does npm run dev do? What is vite? What is binding? Okay. A server does not magically receive packets. It has to tell the OS when a packet arrives for this IP and this port, hand it to me. That request is called a binding. We didn't know that. But I just want to rant about bindings real quick. Widgets, Flutter, binding. You see this when you're working on Flutter a lot. A concrete binding for applications based on the widgets framework. I find that this is a black mirror in a way. We can learn more about ourselves. Our habits are our bindings. It's the glue that helps us serialize our days. So, okay, when using the widgets framework, this binding, or one that implements the same interfaces, must be used. The following mixins are used to implement this binding. So we want to learn more. What is a binding base? Base classes for mixins that provide singletons. Yeah, so you're binding to this one single source of truth. A singleton is separate from the way that we talked about classes before. Classes also, I say classes are these like factories for creating instances of things. That might not always, like, that's true in a lot of cases. You make an instance of a class, and now all of a sudden you have all the faculties of that class. If you have a day class, then that day might have an hour method. And that hour method, depending on if you're using yesterday when an event happened, there's a day object there. You could find out what, or even an hour object, you can find out at what hour did this event take place. Or some of the singleton services. With a singleton, let's define a singleton. What is a singleton? The way I would describe a singleton is it's a single source of truth that is not, it's a single instance. And it's not even an instance. I think technically it's not an instance. But at that level, classes become this means of abstraction for encapsulating something. There's this notion of namespaces. When we talk about a namespace, you might have something. What is a namespace? And the idea is with a namespace, what makes them useful. Okay, let's see. Let's just make sure this is almost okay. As long as this is still running. The thing with a namespace is it helps because, like, let me just show you an example. Hope nothing private. Okay, good. Source app. So right now we're scoped. We see this little bracket right here and this bracket right here. This is the scope of this is this stuff, whatever's within. But okay, because there's a return statement here, it's going to get mad at me if I don't put it between. Well, let's find out. It depends how good my linter is. What is a linter? So if we did console.log. Hello. See, okay, yeah, the linter is good enough. It's saying this will never execute. Unreachable code detected. That's a problem. It should spawn up here, but my linter is not indicating it as a problem. Unreachable code detected. The linter saying this is, let's do TS7027. TS7027. So what even is that? A high-powered audio vacuum tube, often used in vintage and modern guitar. Nope, that's not what we're talking about. Unreachable code detected. I'm just curious as to like what this convention is. Are there just numbers for all of these things? What I'd like to find is one where they're all listed and that I could just update the number in the slug. Now we got to define slug. What is a slug in a URL? We were talking about namespaces. Perfect. So when I do console dot, look at all this. Look at all this stuff that popped up. My machine is smart. The namespace I could be wrong here, but this is how I conceive of a namespace. This is how I conceive of encapsulation. This might just be a helpful heuristic for when someone is describing the particular meaning of a namespace. I think in C# it's like a lot more clear. It's a very specific keyword. But when we talk about a namespace or just really any level of abstraction, I want to access something about the console right here. What about the console? I want to access the capacity to log an error or to log a message or warn the user about something, provide some info, assert something is true or false. See, we got all these options. And it's not just about doing something. Sometimes it's about accessing something. Maybe the count. What is the count? I have no idea what the count is. So this is a method that logs the number of times. So it still logs, but sometimes you might just like time. Yeah, the time. I don't think this is it a method? It is a method. Of course it's a method. All these things are methods. But okay, let's say I made function app. Nope, we don't want that. We want like a what's funny is okay, something. We're gonna we'll say potato. Class potato function. The thing is, I don't work on JavaScript all the time, so you're going to see me on the fly try and figure out how to do this. Let's just do a quick fix. Remove. Oh, this dot name equals name. It should be something like that. But then this should have a name. Name. It'll just be that. It's got to be typed. Fix it. Fix it. All right, so now it's fixed. Potato is declared but never used. So, all right, this is, I can make a potato and I can name my potato. Let potato equal, which is a potato, this is how you say, which is a potato equal new potato spud. Excellent. So I can do a console.log hello from the potato. And if, you know what, this isn't actually that helpful for this example, so we're going to pull this out. We're going to take all this out, and we're just going to, let's close this one. Let's destroy. We're going to just create another Java file. We're going to call this example.javascript. Problem now, because this isn't valid JavaScript. As we talked about in a previous video, JavaScript is not strongly typed, so I can't do that. I just have to take away all of this fancy schmancy declarations of what these things are. But now if I run node, so npm was our node package manager, and the node package manager has some run scripts. I wonder if that, I'm curious now. npm run example. No, that's not going to work. Okay, but I know that node, I'm saying use the backend runtime for JavaScript called node. Run example.js. It says hello from the potato, whose name is spud. Now, we're talking about instances and classes. This is a class potato, and you might have like a function plant. The potato is planted. Does this have to be public? I could even just say let. No. Well, yeah, I could do let. What is the actual? What is this? I forgot. Is it func? Maybe it's so. I haven't written JavaScript in so long. I could just have it say plant. So then we could also do potato.plant. Now, if we run it again, both of those things should happen. It should say hello from the potato spud. The potato is planted. Excellent. But now there's this notion of static. Who am I? I am a potato. I don't have a name, but I don't have a name, but I am a potato. Okay, so I like cheated right there. To escape, you use /. Or you could just use backticks everywhere. And you don't need to escape this. So if I do potato, so in this instance, this is the instance. This is me accessing the instance and printing out the whole thing. This is me accessing a method planting on the instance. So method, property, which is a variable. This is a parameter, gets passed in as an argument. Over here, it's an argument. Spud is the argument, but it's for the parameter name. So, and then that name gets bound. We bind this name to the name that we passed in, because this could have came from somewhere else. Like let's say let form answer for what potato name is equals like input, maybe. I wonder. That's I know that works for Python, and then we'll say form answer for what potato name is. So let's do node what input is not defined. Yeah. So now it's time to Google what is node command for getting input from CLI. You have two primary methods, read line. You have to start importing stuff. Node read. You can use read line. Do I have to use both? Read line, create interface. Yeah, let's try this. I don't think this is going to work because we're not in like a super. Maybe it will. All right. What is your name? We have answer. What is your name? Hello. We're going to just pass the form answer. Our question input. What is the input? What is the name? The output should be form answer for what the name is. Now let's try node example. What is your name? Spudley. The potato is planted. Pete? My bad. Brett. The potato is planted. It's still running. I don't know why it's still running. It should exit. So one way to exit is you hit Control C. That'll just get you out of there. But now after I say Spudley, it will exit itself. Exit is not defined, and it did actually just, I think, did a sig term. How come exit's not defined? Import. Can we do import exit from node process? I didn't know that. I don't even know, but that worked. So let's see if exit works. Brett, hello, the potato was planted. We successfully exited. So this comes down to like the nitty gritty details of how we don't really have to go into like why a lot of this stuff works right now, because what we're trying to do is just make sure that in this series of videos that we don't miss anything, and that like we build from the ground up. Anytime that we have something that we feels impossible to get past, we're going to be able to get past it now. And although we might not do things the right way as we build, we'll learn things. And then once we get really big, we're going to trim off a bunch of garbage and then try and get to like a solid like place to deploy. Or we've already deployed, but that's for anyone who's interested in watching like or reviewing the artifacts that we created. I think in the meantime, because like this doesn't have to exist. That doesn't have to be open. This we want to keep running. Let's see if the magazine's done yet. It might be. It might be. Okay, this part's hard. Hand off April versus comparison to Brett. That one is going to be tough because it's kind of like a beefy request. I think soon I'm going to have to update all these. The thing is I have to, I do have I added a bunch more chips. The idea was for Hot Potato Games, it's all going to be chips. For the e-commerce side, I'm thinking it's all going to be fries. Then, like, quite frankly, I don't think there's 13 pierogies, but there's definitely 13 ways to make a potato. Maybe the other two are just general potato. And then there was the notion of like potato adjacent characters. Like we have Cheese Grater here, Sunny, who is quote unquote VP of Potato Core. I like Sunny as a character. Like there is no potato without the sun. Yeah, but in an Odie's Epic, Sunny is an important character. But at that point, I don't know. Like, is it potato like is baked potato, pierogi? Are they in the same in mashed potato? Are they in the same category with Russ? And then there's another category that's like potato adjacent, where it's like masher, cheese grater. Because part of me thinks that masher, cheese grater, even tractor or peeler or potato truck, those seem more antagonistic characters who are in the company, but in the lore of my headcanon, and there's some stuff written down here that the task engine is picking up, that these characters, I'm not gonna spoil the secrets, but there's something special about these antagonistic characters. But like Salt and Pepper, is that gonna be in the same category as Sunny? Why does he have to be like this? At that point, it's like I have more than 4 verticals. I just am trying to synchronize with the calendar, because otherwise I can just like spiral down the hole. Don't want that. So okay, what we wanted to do, we wanted to check if they were correct in what they said about our reports. We do have our 2026 report, the Potatoes Annual. The storefront from the top. Uh-oh. Looks like it didn't take any pictures. Oh no. I'm pretty disappointed. The clock is live. The rest is pre-rendered. We have to spaz. Why did the April annual report do so much better about taking pictures with Playwright? And this newer version is 100% text and lifeless, and we don't have our characters with their variable expressions / stickers reflecting on things. This one seems much more lifeless and a step backwards, whereas our previous one, although the content being reviewed was much uglier, at least it was displayed and reflected upon. I will show you an example. Every page, I'm going to say, every page in the June one looks like this. But then we can go to live. Meanwhile, the old one looks like this for almost every page. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable to make the decision to just stop providing the media you are reflecting on. This will cost someone their job. So this is a business event that is a mess. This is a business event. There will need to be a reorg. That will be reflected in Potatoes web in the org path. Put a to-do in there for this. Meanwhile, we need to get screenshots / reflection screenshots of given portions of the app. Be they, because we might want be they full screenshots embedded, screenshots that then get cut up and zoomed in on, etc. You're right. I shipped a text line that actually player screenshots and character art to ground every review and actual visual. There's a real failure. I had the screenshots available in the archived section. I had the what? That's totally wrong. That's also wrong. We have a completely redesigned website. Don't reuse old images from the April version. That is not acceptable. All right. Fix it straightforward. All 19 today are logged. The rename CMU is still open above. So we're going to be wrapping up soon. What's next, I guess, is just like some deployment. You know, we got to make sure that these get their images. Yeah, that's embarrassing. See, like this, I want to be able to see a side by side of this and this. Otama, mother potato, magnificent and in bloom. Thanks for being you. Shout out to you, Mama. What is distribution? SSH server. Determine. Okay, this is an old one. We're gonna go live with this new one. The last thing we're gonna ask is what is CI? I think we might already have a CI/CD one. Okay, in our sidebar, we have debug and chat. We also want index, which allows for searching. I was about to ask about CI/CD, but part of me thinks we might have already covered this. My dog just freaked out for a sec. Oh, I don't know. I'm doing help. Good. That's good. That's good. Okay. Background command capture potato core heart space. So yeah, potato core is the heart of the organization. That's me. I have a heart. Potato literature is the spade. Technically, I think it is the strong suit because hot potato games. It's more like a playground for me right now. I am going to do some more XRPL integrations. Right now, the only XRPL integration there is, I think, is you can buy an NFT on the site with HPG, and by logging into an account on the web that's got that NFT, and then logging into Tater Dash or online, you'll have access to different like gear. Yeah, but one of the there's so many ideas. When summer starts, our focus is going to be hot potato games. I'm kind of excited for that. I'm really excited for that. But I know that if I don't get a bunch of potato core content out there, that I'm not going to have it as a habit. When we go into the next season, it's just going to be a bit rearranging of the priorities. I might not we're working on potato core right now in the videos. I guess maybe that's fine. Like, we're just trying to get you up to speed with the ontology that I'll be using to build everything else. Then after that, it's going to be potato literature. The thing with potato literature is it's all books, and I'm not going to do AI generated books. Like, I think no, none of the fiction. Some of the nonfiction I think I'm going to use heavily for research, but I don't think it ever gets the voice right that I'm going for. But I have an interest in like doing like the history of the potato, like how it got from Peru to being like the #1 crop, vegetable crop, or at least in the top 3. I think it's like up there with corn and beans, or corn and soy, or even rice. It'll be fun to explore those things. Then potatoes, when we get back to, we're still working constantly on potatoes. We got the merch, you know what I'm saying? There will be more. But what we want now is for this to finish up. We'll wrap that up. Let's see. These are all running back. So you might notice that a lot of the times I'm like approving things. What do I mean approving things? What am I approving? It's asking me if it has permission to run a command. When you use a tool like OpenClaw, or I think even Hermes, maybe not for Hermes. I think let's just look at Hermes and Hermes versus OpenClaw are two of the most popular open source AI agent frameworks, but they fundamentally take different approaches. Gateway First Assistant are built to connect your agents to dozens of messaging platforms. Hermes is an agent first system optimized for deep recall, workflow automation, and self-improvement. Oh, that's cool. We might dive deeper into that once we have like a deeper understanding of it. We could even look into it right now. Okay, a third tab. Okay. Yes, it's a search index. High priority for words within a question. Lower priority for words used in an answer, but still visible. Yumatsu. 2, yes. Okay, which one's this? Let me have to specific. Let's see if it got this right. Be a run dev. Is it already running? 518. It's a potato. No, it's PL now. I like that, PL. Be cool if that was over there. Can you also make that favicon the logo that we see on the top left of the screen on desktop? Include potato literature, though. Keep the potato, but the PL on the gradient as the logo for potato. Valid. Oh yeah, we've got these 3 stories we're working on. These all kind of encompass one story that is really down the hole. But down the hole, into the void, through the aether. This was just an essay for me once, but now it's like this like tragic story. This is also tragic. It doesn't end in tragedy, or I don't know. I guess it depends. There will be a lot of ways to interpret it, but that's only available when we're in dev. So I should fix that. Ideally, we get 3 deployments out here right now so that the next time the Potato Magazine thing runs, we have something to talk about. I almost feel like, I really like our magazine run book right now, but it's a little all over the place. Let's talk to it. CD Potato. Where are we currently? We currently are running a session backfilling magazines plus annual review process that is a result of a run book. We currently are running a session backfilling magazines plus annual review process that is a result of a run book. However, I think the run book is a bit messy, all over the place. I would really like it if we could centralize some of the logic. We ran into an issue today where images, multimedia, or images, screenshots from Playwright were not used. We ran into an issue today where images, screenshots from Playwright were not used to in the creation of the review, which defeats the purpose in most cases. I think everything's done. I can click through the line to see that the tab opens. Next to which defeats the purpose. Bubba, we snoring again. That's a good boy, though. CD Potatoes Magazine. NPM run dev. Report. Let's see. Yes, quite. All right. This is the lore for it. This was the original, but this isn't really the magazine. This is more like what is this one? This is not the magazine. It could be. It's my magazine for me, but what would I call this? I want. Okay, yeah, okay. Mictor, just make another runbook catalog, runbook editor. I just created Potatoes runbook editor. The goal is for me to be able to go into that directory and have access to the creation of magazines in this format we just discussed. You can find the HTML that composed the magazine in Potato Core, Potato Core web. Please begin composing this directory to allow for the configuration of this system by moving the magazine creation runbook / templates into that folder. It will be more so used for like when npm run dev to review how each page is formatted. If you used the engine in Potato literature, i.e. the dual pages, and had each of those pages just as editable how each page is composed to review what is it's more what it to review and sync my alignment with the automations configuration. To review and sync my alignment with the automations configuration so that we never run into this problem again. We definitely will, but that will at least buy us some time while we do. That's not a thing. Okay, path 47. I think we looked up index. Regular expression, regex, is a tiny language for describing patterns in text. You don't need to memorize these. It might be fun one day to just do it if you're like that, but you're always going to be able to Google these things, and you're always going to be able to write tests to validate that the regex that you wrote is valuable. The regex you write is going to be able to like pattern match in order to find a variety of different strings patterns in text. All right, what is a compile cache? When a language tool does an expensive source code into runnable form, it does not want to do that work on every run. See, even computers are lazy. A compile cache is a folder on a disk. Yeah, delete. You can always delete these things. If found, reuse it, skip compilation. But sometimes you want to delete it. If not found, it computes a fingerprint, usually a hash of the file, plus the compiler version, plus the relevant flags, node v8, bytecode cache. And the node compile and var caches v8 parsed and compiled for JS files. Why this dev loop speed lives and dies on caches. The first byte start is cold. Everything has to be built. Yeah, if you've got like a massive company, that starts to matter. But when you're trying to go fast and you're like new, no, I guess it's good to learn. It's good to learn these things, but you'll find that like three problems for developers are, what is it? Cache invalidation, naming things. Butter, that good boy, and off by one errors. So yeah, it's the two hardest things. There are only two hard things in programming, in computer science: cache invalidation and naming things. But there are two hard problems in computer science: cache invalidation, naming things, and off by one errors. Oftentimes, you don't know. Oftentimes when you're writing a loop, if you're doing it like the old-fashioned way and you're not just doing like a method that's already tied to the object you're working on, especially if you're working with more low-level languages, you want to loop through a list of 5 items. When you get to 5, are you running through a loop again? The answer is no, because we started at 0. Cache invalidation. How do you know when it's time to evict the cache and send new fresh data in? It's a difficult problem to solve. Sometimes, like, it's highly dependent on business requirements. You have to invalidate for like real-time trading, but like, are you ever going to need to update the results of a previous football game? Maybe, like if there's an overturning weeks later. I don't even think that's possible. But so it's less likely that you're going to be doing cache invalidation all the time for previous events. So you get like really fast results for who won games in the past. But in real event, like if you're Googling for real time, uh, you're going to want to invalidate that cache all the time. Naming things. It's difficult because I might like a name, you might hate that name, and then all of a sudden, you're naming things one way, I'm naming things another way. So, okay. What is the flushed? Yeah, let's just delete, clear, blow it away, nuke, bust it all. What is the process in the context? These are just arguments. It's a vector. A list of arguments. Are the arguments that you pass to your script? If you said, is the arg path? What am I doing? Build MJS. Process 2 are the arguments you passed. Yeah, you'll be able to find these on idon'tknow.com. What is baseline browser mapping? Braces a standardized label for is this web feature safe on modern browsers? That's pretty cool. I guess that's bundled into my runtime. Which features can I emit versus rotate based on targets? Are they available? Oh, I like that. Okay. I'm just reading. I don't know what any of these things that I'm reading are right now. Nano ID. Oh, it's just ID. Nanoid? Nano ID, of course. Pick it over. It's shorter, URL safe, no dashes, faster library, smaller library, around 130 bytes. Very tight implementation. Common uses, keys, notions, URL suffixes. Yeah, so it's use case dependent. What is an update browser list? What is a favicon? It's this thing. Default is the earth. The earth. G is for Google favicon. A singleton design pattern that guarantees only one instance. Okay. Only one instance. So it is an instance. I thought it was like beyond instances, but it's only one instance that everything treats as a single source of truth. So if you had like a potato farm, you wouldn't, if you have a potato farm, every potato is an instance of a potato, but your farm itself is the singleton. It's the one thing. You have one of those things. And any rules that govern that potato farm exist for each of those potatoes when they interact with the potato farm. It's not like you're going to have a different potato farm interacting with your potato unless they rob you and plant your potatoes. What is a namespace? A way to scope things that do not collide. So examples across this, the dotted path is the namespace. Yeah, so it is such that they're different across languages, whether it's C#, JavaScript, Python, even stuff like XML and HTML have namespaces. Kubernetes namespaces. They're logical isolations. It's a way to not containerize, but it's a way to create a container for things. Containerize usually means something specific in the context of Kubernetes and Docker, which is why I wouldn't say a namespace is a way to containerize things because it might confuse someone, even though technically it's true in some ways because now you have a container where if you reference that container, you'll have access to what's in that container. What is it like if if the program allows for it? A program that reads your source code without running it and flags issues. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's a server usually, right? A program, just scanning everything all the time, making sure that you're not writing garbage code or that making sure that you do write garbage code if you don't like the rules of a given linter. I think it gets important that when you get into this field that you understand that some people are opinionated and their opinion doesn't necessarily make them right. But when someone has a lot of opinions, I would say like I prefer that. I prefer when someone says that they have opinions, but are also open to having their opinions overridden for the sake of a team. But in those instances, you want someone with a spine. You want someone who's going to be able to argue why they're right. And even if they do submit, like you don't want someone who's going to like 6 months later be like, I told you so. But you want someone who will like try to fight for what is best and not just what is quick. At least that's how I look at it. So a slug is this part. That part is the slug. The part that points to one specific resource. How to make better coffee. That is the resource being pointed to. So that is the slug of the URL. It might even be blog how to make this is the slug. So to URL mix lowercase URL are case sensitive and mixing cases. Hyphen separate. A slug is a human readable identifier for a piece of content in the URL path. The part that points to one specific resource. So sometimes blog can just be the slug, but Yeah. How slugs are generated. Like some businesses will prefer that most things happen in the URL. Not things happen, but data can be passed around and like used to execute code against the server by just passing it into the URL and then hitting post or get. And that's one way to compose your application. Other applications don't require that. I would say oftentimes in Flutter applications, you're not going to see that. But they handle that stuff different ways. So are slugs often used for maintaining state? However, the URL path, which includes the slug, yeah, is a client-side state. All right, I might be wrong to make a generalization, but probably is human readable to represent specific. Instead of a raw ID like domain, I want to get to like, all right, brettowers.com rocks maybe. Is rocks maybe a slug or just maybe? That's the path. Route segment. What's the slug for this? I'd usually answer if someone asks what's the path. Yeah, I would agree. Slug would be maybe. Django would be maybe. Next to segments would be rocks and maybe. So it's different based, I guess, on the framework you're using, the way you'll use it. But you're effectively referring to like this ID right here is the slug. Some systems loosely call the entire string a slug, but that's less common. All right, cool. Let's see. I think I'm ready to go live with this one. What is update browsers DB? What is a linter? What is this like in a URL? Yeah, so, CI/CD. Look at all these words that we got. Wow. All right, so now what we want to do, we have a hypothesis, a hypostasis. We do not have a hypostasis. We're going CD. Where were we? I don't know what I'm doing, right? CD, I don't know what I'm doing. Get status. Look at all those changes. Get add. API key. Yeah, my API key is not in there. You wouldn't add an API key, but this is the source for where we have code indicating that you can put your API key in, which safe. Day 7, June 7th. I'm usually bad about some of these commits. If I worked on a more, I think this might actually be open source. Can I do git push? So that might be live. Let's see. Refresh. Okay. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. What if we do npm run deploy? Butter. That's why I asked the question about CI/CD, because some CI/CD integrations, continuous integration, continuous delivery, or deployment. I pushed this up to our remote server on our main production branch. So ideally, it might be in Vercel. I'm going to do this on a different, I don't know what I have in there. I don't know how keen Vercel is at displaying secrets. Potato literature, potato front end. Just got an idea. Or just pray like this. It might be, is it Netlify? Deployments, update. Potatoes. I'm just looking for, it's not in here. Is it in Cloudflare Pages? Will this auto deploy? Manually deploy. We need Wrangler. Right? Let's get this to auto deploy when main is updated. Okay, move everything into the editor. Copy everything for now. Copy everything for now. Fight. React read only now. Let's see if they fixed let's see if they fixed this. I should still be running. Roger, Roger. Yes. Yes. Okay, so some things are ugly. Shop the drop. Hot potatoes. Love it. Love it. All right. The brand has earned the right to be confident. We should stop apologizing for being unusual and start asserting it. Thank you, sweet potato fry. A comic frame should be a TikTok hour. A comic page should be an Instagram carousel. The plumbing should connect. All right, that's good advice. Comic 1, the garbage collection. Landed on potatoes. The reader experience is good. The asset is... I disagree with that. I think it's kind of ugly. But it serves as the foundation for what I think it will become. A lot of it is like parody. I don't know. In a way, I'm a parody of myself. Because I recognize that I'm a bit... Who's this guy with potatoes? Why do they got potatoes there? Partnership services are almost there. Truffle fry. If I'm a brand partnership scout from another company, I land on potato. I'm trying to figure out who I would talk to. The org chart helps me. I can see the roles. We do not need to chase partnerships. We need to be findable. Bars. Thank you, Truffle Fry. Accessibility holds. Compliance edges need attention. Uh-oh. Garlic sweeps potato for the things that quietly break. Accessibility is decent. A handle. Still missing. I ran through these storefront QA and compliance text. Accessibility based on a decent text contrast on the words, comic reviews, keyword accessible area tag. The compliance is where we need a clear privacy policy in the footer. We do have one. Privacy policy. None of this is exemplary, but none of it is broken. That puts us where most independent storefronts at this level. All right. Needs improvement. I wonder, what about hot potato games? The development pipeline is healthy. The showcase. Oh, the site should look like it has a pulse. A single in development panel pulled from commits and deploys would prove the studio is alive. Facts. The community is dispersed by default because we have not built the place for it. Step 1 is to build a place. Right, yeah, so... Okay, yeah. The game needs a theory of themselves. Kettle is the senior gamers. We have 43 games, yet none haven't articulated why those games belong in the same studio. Bars. All right, I'm skipping over these ones for now because that is for the summer. Right now, everything that exists in there is just like musings. Honestly, the one that I really want to get right is going to be like this game as like something that my friends and I can play online. It kind of works. It's pretty busted. I don't like how most of this works. This is all I think is this Flutter? I think this is Flutter. Yeah, it's all Flutter. I'll probably do another rebuild in something that's not Flutter. But yeah, so you can kind of see I'll be Salasan. We'll do a 6x3 fight. This dude I know has Omega Burst. And then when he does that, he takes a little bit of damage. But when there's fire in a location, he can move to that location. And because of the spread that it's got, I actually don't want him to hurt himself again without needing to. So I just moved him forward. They're bots over there, so I don't know. They're working very poorly. But this Omega Blast will hurt all of their characters and mine, so we'll burst their fire type so it's not doing as much damage. Burst again. We just destroyed their Salasan. Another burst. And, okay, just to provide evidence. He can now move anywhere. He can pull up right here. Oh, he actually moved. All right, we're just gonna finish it. Well, okay. The cool thing about this game, I think, is going to be this idea of changing dimensions. This isn't the real time one. This is more of like the chess one, but and chess mixed with Pokemon. It's like Mega Man Battle Network, but instead they're potatoes, and it's called Tenlock, or the one that's like the perfect version in my head involves this. The strategy for the game is to constantly change the dimensions of the board to keep your opponent on their toes. That said, you might pick a character who like benefits from that chaos, and there's also going to be like moon stuff or like lunar. There's going to be seasonal stuff. The idea is, one thing I like about the modern like hot dropping like Fortnite or even like Arc Raiders or a lot of these games. Arc Raiders, you have to leave because there's an orbital thing that's about to explode the universe or like explode topside. Fortnite, there's a storm closing. In a game like this, there's a fear that if I don't make it in such a way where like I don't want there to be like these lockout moments where you're just going back and forth, you're at a stalemate. So the goal is to thus make like seasonal effects. Depending on what the current season is, there's no effects. But after one day, we actually jump forward a season, and then the weather amps up a little bit for that season. And then after another day, it amps up again to a medium level where you're getting like chipped if you're on the wrong field. And then after that, it's like as hard as the like conditions get, and everyone's taking damage from them. So it just starts to drain you. So that's like one of the goals for this game. I don't know if okay, we just did beta expand. I think the maximum that really works because I want this to look decent on mobile is 8x8, but we just won. Victory. Continue. Now there's also these there's these 4 other kinds. So we have seasonal, which has a bunch of variants. We have lunar, solar, ecliptic, heart, body, soul. Body's cool. Body's meant to have a rivalry with Earth. Earth is kind of our main character, but so is Body. So is Prophetic. No. Prophetic's the main character because Dream and Nightmare kind of go at it. And Ecliptic is also a main because they're kind of like, I would say, on their own. Solar and Lunar kind of have this relationship as temporal objects. I don't like how these wrap around, but let's see if any of these things went. Oh yeah, but we were looking at the review of Potato Core. This one, the visual is strict and it holds. I like this one, but it doesn't really right now make sense as a like this is where I have like publications. I love this one. The site should acknowledge that the visual production is catching up to the editorial. The site should be welcoming to debuts. Every word on the site has been read. The illustrations have not yet made the prose. You're right, because the book actually has those 52 employees, 4 websites, 52 takes. None of them agreed. All of them were right. The storefront has personality. The studio has games it does not yet show. The broadcast committed to the bit. The publication knows what it is for. We always have been here. We always will be. We will keep watching. Love that. I can just spawn that whenever I want. What's next? What was it? Oh, I wanted to just show that for Potato Core. The reason that there's that dot there is if you click this dot, you have these, I don't know if it's still working, but basically the deployments are supposed to be updating with certain events, and it's also got my, the Sodcast you're just supposed to go live with because Potatoes, Hot Potato Games, Potato, because this is Potato Core, and that would be where you find the Sodcast when we start it. It's supposed to be a podcast that's about potatoes and also potato interests, but I've been like doing my research on existing potato related podcasts. You might not think those exist. There's at least one, and it's called Ion Potatoes Podcast. Highly recommend. I think his name is Lane Chase. Ion Potatoes Podcast. Lane Nortland, right? Lane Nortland? He doesn't even drop his name here. Isn't it Lane Nortland? Lane Nortland. Is that his name? Lane Nordland. This dude, I've been listening to this guy a lot lately. He's got a voice for radio. Check it out. If you're interested just in like, a slice of what happened during COVID to the agricultural industry, right as the previous, not this past election, but the one before that was kicking off. Like, I think the podcast started before coronavirus took off, and then immediately coronavirus takes off, and then you get to just hear like all this really cool like information about the supply chain, education, law, tariffs, international business. Highly recommend anyone checks that out who's interested in the potato industry. Let's see. All right, so this definitely has not kicked off. Potato core, which one's this? LS. Get status, get add, get commit, improved. This I'm pretty sure has a is already. I don't think I have to. My usual command is. Yeah. Okay. I either have a send it, shell script that will deploy things. We can go over those at some point. I don't know what I'm doing. Hand off to Brett. This worked. We're gonna call that a day. I'm gonna say you mutsu. My understanding, you want cloud wired to the so every yes. The work is mostly clicks I can't do. You lose the free preview deploys. Okay, you want wired to the repo so every push auto builds and ships. This is the dashboard flow in deploy MD. No Wrangler. No, the work is mostly clicks I can't. I'll walk you through and verify the results. The repo remote already is. Oh, so it might be. I might have just filibustered myself. And this went way longer than it's supposed to. I'm sorry. Deployments. We could just do an auto deployment, but new deployment. No. Domains. Why can't we Wrangler deploy? Okay. Open the pages. Authorize and pick the repo. Build settings. Add the node version. Save and deploy. Work is in pages. Create app pages. Connect to get. Authorize and pick the repo. I've already done that. Trigger events. Trigger only has static assets. Oh. Is that the problem? It just might not be watching it. Yeah, it's probably this. I don't know. Workers and pages. I don't know what I'm doing. Do I have to push another one up now? Manually deployed. Build command, npm deploy command, npx wrangler deploy. Is that it? Oh no, I gotta do all this. Build watch. Deploy hooks. Prod? Maybe not. Include.
Error, a request to Cloudflare API membership authentication code. Newer version. You're logged in with an auth. Are you missing user details read permission? Hold up, that's the worker status, not the pages. Oh. Ooh. Dash.cloudflare, create application pages. Application. Pages. Workers and pages. I don't know what I'm doing. We've already created one. This has already been created. This has already been created. Did the deploy easiest check? It did not. You don't notice it. Run this from that. All right. Is update even a real command? How do I update? How update Wrangler? That seems sus. Oh, it's just a link. Okay. Wrangler wants access. Includes any account added in the future. Authorization granted. Okay. NPX Wrangler deploy. Deploys Hapton is work build auto push. Is workers builds or does the repo just exist because Wrangler stored the origin? Settings builds. It's on the same page. If it shows it connected with the main and a build command, it is. So maybe I just have to. I don't even know if I had to do all that with Wrangler, but CD potatoes, CD potato core, ls CD potato. No, we're not doing that. We're doing CD. I don't know. Get status. Go live. Git push. Oh my gosh. Auto. Oh, go live. That should work. Installing. See, so sometimes it's a little finicky. We should probably ask what is Wrangler tomorrow, but not today. That's almost 2 hours. But we want to bask in this together, don't we? We want to do idk.potatocore. Now we got all four. We got an index. We don't know if the index works. SSH. Oh, I like that. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Thank you for watching.